guys are thinking about the contribution that Donald Trump has played in this. I mean, none of you have spoken about that.
What are you suggesting? That he wanted to get shot?
Says all the things he says at his rallies. You guys don't hear that all the time?
Okay, so I just want to be very clear, okay? Violence has no place in the political process in this nation.
No, I understand
okay?
that, but you're saying that the rhetoric and things that are being said by, anybody else. But what about what it is that Donald Trump says? Do you guys are you guys going to talk about that at all?
Yep, let me see.
It is bizarre that you would say that the person who got shot in the head, his rhetoric was responsible, as though there's some justification for bad things being said to shoot someone, the leading candidate for politics, in the head. That is bizarre. But to the last point that you made, 2011, you had Gabby Giffords, who got shot, tragically. And the media, and I'm not sure if Channel 7 did or any other network, but the media, by and large, put together a fact pattern that a woman from Alaska who had a PAC in Washington, who some staffer put bullseyes on a map saying these are the districts we're going to target, was responsible. The leading newspaper of record, the New York Times, editorialized. It was just in court. Right? So to imply that there's no rhetorical cause and effect that motivates crazy people to do things is absolutely bizarre. I woke up this morning to the Staten Island Advance with a bizarre headline today, 6 a.m. We got to get those Trump MAGA thugs or gangsters. That was today's newspaper of the Staten Island Advance. I don't even have a subscription to cancel anymore.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about a story involving the mainstream liberal media doing exactly what I warned you guys that the mainstream liberal media was going to do in response to this failed Trump assassination attempt, which is to try to gaslight the American people into believing that the shooter was not some far-left lunatic, that in fact he may have been a right-winger who was targeting Trump. And the reason why they're trying to do this is because the narrative that the shooter is a left-winger or a progressive or a Democrat does not play well for them, and it actually makes them responsible for what happened to Trump, because the mainstream liberal media and the Democrat Party has been putting out rhetoric that Trump is evil, that he's Hitler, he's a threat to democracy, and in fact, the guy is so dangerous that they would rather vote for a vegetable than to have Trump back in office, because the country will be over as we know it if Trump is elected. This is what these people have been saying, okay? And you could argue that that type of rhetoric led to what happened to President Trump, or at the very least, if the roles were reversed, if something like that happened to Biden or some major Democrat, what would the mainstream liberal media be saying? They would not be asking for both sides to tone down the rhetoric. They say, no. We're talking about an attempted assassination on a Democrat, on an attack that they would say most definitely came from a right-winger. They wouldn't speculate that it would be possible for the attacker to be far left, even though we have seen the far left attacking Democrats, right? We have seen that. Okay, we've seen that for the past few years or so. So again, it's not abnormal to have a left-winger attack a Democrat, but it most certainly is abnormal to have somebody that is far right attack Trump for not being far right enough, which would be an acknowledgement that Trump is in fact not far right. Okay, but again, I don't think the media realizes what they're saying as they're trying to spin the narrative here in order to relieve themselves of responsibility and accountability for what happened to President Trump, thus giving them the green light to continue to attack Trump the way that they have, right? Because again, moving forward, they still want Trump to lose, okay? So you got to understand, their ability to continue to attack Trump is on the line here, right? So this is why they have to spin this narrative that this guy is a Republican and that this is actually Trump's fault, right? It's not our fault. It's Trump's fault because his rhetoric contributed to this. And therefore, you should be more cautious about trying to tell us to tone down our rhetoric because the shooter was a Republican. In fact, the media is so aware of their rhetoric and the fact that a lot of people are blaming them for what happened to Trump, that MSNBC pulled off one of their most Trump deranged morning shows, the morning show with Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski. All they do every single morning is talk about how Trump is Hitler, he's so bad, Antichrist, threat to democracy. They pulled the show this morning because they were afraid that one of their hosts may say something stupid in response to Trump's assassination attempt. That's how Trump deranged the media is, guys. That's how Trump deranged they are. So they desperately want this narrative that, hey, this guy is a left-winger that tried to shoot Trump. They want that to go away quick, fast, in a hurry, right? They're already feeling the heat, okay? They're already feeling the heat. However, the Staten Island GOP, at a press conference, they were not having any of that from the mainstream liberal media. As you had New York Assemblyman Sam Pirozzolo, he actually went off on one of these NBC reporters that tried to play the whole, well, the shooter was a Republican card, so therefore you don't need to blame us for our rhetoric because, again, the guy was Republican. Yeah, this guy wasn't having any of that. And I want to talk about it, but before we get into it, we have to have a word from the sponsor of this video, Noble Gold. Are you worried about the future of the U.S. economy? With so much uncertainty in the air, it is natural to fret about the security of your retirement savings. However, there's one asset that stands the test of time, and that is gold. For centuries, gold has been a hedge against market volatility and economic instability. With a gold IRA from Noble Gold Investments, you can harness the power of precious metals in order to secure your financial future. By rolling over your existing IRA or 401k into a self-directed gold IRA, you can enjoy the potential for long-term growth and stability. Diversify your portfolio with a tangible asset that has real value. Setting up a gold IRA with Noble Gold Investments has never been easier with its streamlined process and expert guidance. This election year, do not let the volatility and uncertainty keep you up at night. Vote for the timeless safety of gold and silver in 2024. And Noble Gold Investments will give you up to 10 1-ounce silver Trump coins or a 10-ounce silver American flag bar if you open a qualified account. Go to noblegoldinvestments.com now. That is noblegoldinvestments.com. And just remember, there's a risk with every investment and there's no guarantee of any kind.
Oh, by the way, a registered Republican. Yeah. You guys know about that?
Yeah, so I don't know who you are, so I just like to, before I answer your question, what's your name?
Daniel.
Daniel from where?
From NBC.
And sir, where are you from?
I'm sorry, NJ Burkett with Channel 7.
Okay. So you want to talk about the fact the guy may be a Republican, or at least registered the Republican Party, which anybody in this country is free to do.
I didn't ask that question, by the way.
That's fine, but you did suggest, and you're talking about rhetoric. So are you saying that it's not okay for us to denounce violence? Are you saying that we should wait until we know what's going on? Everybody on the planet knows that you have MSNBC, the New York Times, Rachel Maddow, The View. You have Maxine Waters. Oh, let's get in their faces. You have this going on every day. And you dare to say to us, shouldn't we wait? No, we shouldn't wait. Right now is the time to say that we need to cool things down. We don't have to wait for your permission. We don't have to wait for anybody's permission, regardless of this young man's motivation. What he did was wrong. He tried to assassinate a president of the United States. And you stand there and say, well, maybe I should wait. Maybe it's okay. Are you saying the fact that he was registered to the Republican Party absolves him of everything? Absolves all of the media of all of the coverage they've done for the last 10 years? Absolutely not. That is a pathetic question, and I think you guys should be ashamed. I mean, I don't know you personally, but it's pathetic that you would even suggest that he's a Republican, therefore everything is okay, when you have social media, you have control of the media, you talk about the laptop, you talk about Russian collusion, all of that we have to forget, because maybe this guy was registered or is registered to the Republican Party. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
I don't think what he's saying is that. I think what they're saying is when he says they did it.
Yeah, they did it.
They did it. You don't know that.
It's what I'm saying.
Knows who he is.
It's what I'm saying. Listen, I take all these DEI classes, right? And in the DEI classes, they say that it's not what the question is. It's how the person who perceives the question takes it. That's how I take it.
You may very well be.
Boom. What did I tell you guys? What did I tell you? I told you guys yesterday, that's exactly what they're doing. Okay? This is why I think that this story, you're never going to get the truth about who this guy really was and what happened, because I think that the rabbit hole is extremely deep in regards to why that was allowed to happen and who was behind it, right? I think it's that deep. But again, like I told you guys, the media is trying to pull the okie doke here, okay? They're trying to latch onto this narrative that, okay, well, this guy might have been a Republican. So therefore, you can't criticize us. You can't say that our rhetoric had anything to do with it because, again, this guy was a registered Republican, as if that means anything. Again, being a Republican or a Democrat is not some type of definitive indicator of your ideology, right? Republican is a political party. Democrat is a political party. You can have conservative Democrats. You can have liberal Republicans. In fact, it was very commonplace, okay, for Democrats and Republicans to have liberals and conservatives within the party. I don't know, maybe 100 years ago. Okay, it was very common for the parties to have a mix of ideologies, okay? So to pretend as if somebody's political party registration is, again, some type of definitive indicator of their ideology is just dishonest. It's not honest at all. Again, especially considering how we have evidence that this guy donated to Democratic causes. Again, the donation is much more of an indication than his party registration. But see, they don't want to focus on that. They went, oh, he was a registered Republican, because they believe that people are stupid. They don't believe that people are going to critically think about that and say, okay, well, what does that actually really mean? It doesn't really mean much. Joe Scarborough is a registered Republican. Does that mean that he's MAGA? Because according to the logic of the media, the logic they're trying to use on the American people to gaslight people into believing that this guy was some far-right extremist or some MAGA guy, some Trump supporter that decided to try to take out Trump for whatever reason, that is their line of logic. Again, according to their logic, Joe Scarborough must be MAGA. Anna Navarro must be MAGA. Alyssa Farrah Griffin must be MAGA, right? No. We know in reality that all of those individuals may be registered Republican, and some of them may call themselves conservative, but they are extremely Trump deranged. And a vast majority of the Trump derangement comes from the left and the Democrat Party, and the never Trump Republicans also agree with the Democrats on this, right? They agree so much with the Trump derangement that a lot of these so-called Republicans and conservatives are just flat out supporting Biden in his woke agenda, like Anna Navarro. I'm not sure what in the hell is conservative or Republican about Anna Navarro. She supports everything in the Democrat Party, right? But again, on paper, she's a Republican. So again, this nonsense from the media is something that we have to actively pay attention to, guys, because I'm telling you, they desperately want to continue to attack Trump, and they have a roadblock, right? It's going to be hard for them to come out here and to continue to say that Trump is Hitler and, you know, he's such a big threat and all the things they've been saying about him, okay? If the shooter turned out to be influenced by the far left Trump derangement, because they will be culpable. At that point, the GOP could say, yeah, you're inciting violence by saying stuff like this. You know, the same way that the left claim after January 6th that, you know, if you support Trump or if you have questions about the election, that you are inciting violence because of what happened on January 6th. Yeah, you guys remember that? Which, by the way, imagine if the Republicans tried to engage in this both sides talk after January 6th. Do you think the media would be going for that? Do you think the media would be okay if Republicans came out and said, no, you don't understand. Both sides need to tone down the rhetoric after January 6th. Come on now. We all know how they respond to that, because the way they respond to it today, anytime they bring up January 6th and a Republican brings up BLM or Antifa, which was much worse than what happened on January 6th. There were a ton of January 6s that happened at the hands of leftists in this country. But anytime you bring that up, they'll say, no, we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about January 6th. Let's stick to the topic. Now, all of a sudden, when it comes to this Trump assassination attempt, these people want to deflect and say, no, both sides. But what about January 6th? But no. We're not talking about January 6th. We're talking about the failed Trump assassination attempt. That's what we're talking about right now. The media is pulling mental gymnastics that they would never do. They would never consider doing if the shoe was on the other foot. If what happened to Trump happened to Biden, you would not hear a conversation about, well, both sides need to tone down the rhetoric. No. They will be talking about far-right extremism. They'll be having a conversation about how extreme the rhetoric is in the Republican Party and how unhinged the Republican Party is, right? With domestic terrorists. This is what they say, which, they have called Republicans and Trump supporters domestic terrorists, which, hey, I think also contributes to the extremism that we're seeing from the left, the violence that we're seeing on the left. But yeah, that's the whole point, which is that the hypocrisy from the mainstream liberal media right now is stunning. The fact that they even want to engage in this both sides talk tells you just how much these people can't stand the idea that they now have to actually think about how their rhetoric could affect somebody like Trump in regards to attempts on his life. They don't like that. They really don't like that. And they damn sure don't like being held responsible or taking accountability for the attempt on Trump's life. So again, this is why they're desperately trying to change the narrative to absolve themselves of that accountability and responsibility. And it truly is disgusting because we know that if the shoe was on the other foot, they would never approach commentary on a situation like this the way that they're approaching it right now, which is to engage in this silly both sides talk when, again, there is no both sides. If you look at all the political violence in this country that has happened over the past 4 to 8 years, a vast majority of it has been from the left, but yet you want to engage in both sides talk at a time like this when we know damn well, again, if the shoe was on the other foot, you would never do that. You would not be talking about both sides. Again, it's stunning. It really is. These people think that you're stupid. They really do. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.